Carlo Acutis was kneeling in front of the Blessed Sacrament when something extraordinary happened. He was only 13 years old, deep in prayer during Eucharistic adoration, when suddenly he witnessed something that would mark him for the rest of his life. He saw souls, human souls, in a state of confusion and anguish. His mother testified that when Carlo came home that day, tears were streaming down his face. "Mama," he said, his voice breaking, "I saw the souls of people who took their own lives. They were so lost, so confused. The devil had lied to them and they believed him." This vision wasn't something Carlo sought or expected. It came during an ordinary moment of prayer, a gift from God to help this young saint understand the spiritual battle being waged for every human life. What Carlo saw that day would shape how he prayed, how he treated others, and how he understood the enemy's tactics in destroying what God created. If you're ready to understand what Carlo witnessed and why his message matters desperately today, hit that like button right now. Share this video with anyone who's struggling or anyone who works with young people. And subscribe, because what Carlo saw reveals truths that could literally save lives. Carlo's mother, Antonia Solzana, has spoken publicly about her son's spiritual sensitivity throughout his life. From early childhood, Carlo seemed to perceive realities that others couldn't see. He would suddenly start praying for specific people without knowing why, only to discover later they were going through terrible crises. He could sense spiritual darkness in certain places and would respond with immediate prayer. But his awareness of suicide and the spiritual warfare surrounding it was particularly acute. What exactly did Carlo see during that adoration experience? Based on his mother's testimony and what Carlo shared with his spiritual director, he witnessed the moment when souls who had ended their own lives faced the reality of what they had done. He saw their shock, their confusion, their anguish when they realized the lies they had believed. He saw how the enemy had manipulated their pain, twisted their thoughts, convinced them that death was the only escape from suffering. Carlo wasn't shown this vision to condemn people who die by suicide. The Catholic Church is clear that mental illness, anguish, fear, and other factors can diminish or even eliminate moral culpability. God's mercy is infinite. We cannot presume to judge any soul's eternal destiny. Many saints and theologians believe that God offers a moment of final grace even to those who take their own lives, a chance to accept his mercy in that instant between decision and death. Rather, Carlo was given this vision to understand the enemy's strategy, to recognize suicide as a spiritual attack, and to motivate himself and others to fight back through prayer and presence. He was being prepared for a mission, to intercede for souls in danger, and to inspire others to do the same. Write in the comments if you've ever felt the darkness that Carlo saw, or if you know someone who struggled with thoughts of ending their life. Sharing our experiences helps break the isolation that feeds despair. After this vision, everything changed in how Carlo approached prayer and relationships. He began offering his daily communion specifically for people tempted toward suicide. He prayed the rosary with this intention constantly. He asked Mary, as the mother who stood at the foot of the cross watching her son suffer, to protect those who saw no way out of their own suffering. But Carlo didn't just pray, he acted. He understood that spiritual warfare requires both supernatural and natural weapons. You fight with prayer, yes, but you also fight with presence, with kindness, with noticing people who are struggling and reaching out to them. Carlo's classmates later shared stories that reveal how seriously he took this mission. One friend remembered Carlo always scanning the cafeteria during lunch, looking for students who sat alone. He would grab his tray and join them, starting conversations, asking about their interests, making them feel seen and valued. Another classmate recalled how Carlo defended a boy who was being bullied mercilessly. While others laughed or looked away, Carlo stood up to the bullies. He befriended the victim, spent time with him, made sure he wasn't alone. Years later, this former classmate revealed that he had been contemplating suicide during that period. Carlo's friendship had been the lifeline that kept him alive. Carlo understood something crucial, that suicide rarely happens in a moment of sudden impulse. It's usually the result of prolonged isolation, of feeling invisible, of believing that nobody would care if you disappeared. By simply being present to people, by noticing them and treating them as valuable, Carlo was interrupting the enemy's plan. This is spiritual warfare at its most practical. Prayer matters enormously, but so does showing up. So does sending a text to someone who's been quiet lately. So does sitting with someone who seems sad. So does defending someone who's being attacked. These ordinary acts of kindness are weapons against the darkness that seeks to destroy human lives. This is the perfect time to share this video with teachers, youth ministers, parents, and anyone who works with people who might be struggling. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more content about Carlo's spiritual insights. Carlo's understanding of suicide went far deeper than most people's comprehension. He recognized that the temptation to end one's life is fundamentally built on lies. The enemy whispers specific deceptions. You're worthless. Nobody cares about you. The world would be better off without you. This pain will never end. You're a burden to everyone. There's no hope. God has abandoned you. Every single one of these thoughts is a lie. But in moments of deep despair, especially when mental illness clouds judgment and chemicals in the brain aren't functioning properly, these lies can seem like absolute truth. They feel real. They sound like your own thoughts. You can't imagine they're coming from an external source of evil. This is why Carlo prayed so intensely for people being tempted. He knew they were hearing lies and believing them. He knew they needed God's truth to break through before it was too late. He knew that without prayer, without someone interceding for them, some souls might not survive the attack. Carlo also grasped something that our culture desperately needs to understand, that suicide doesn't just affect the person who dies. In his vision, he saw the ripple effects, the devastation left behind for family and friends, the questions that would haunt them forever, the guilt they would carry, wondering if they could have done something different, the hole torn in the fabric of community that would never be repaired. He saw the plans God had for each life, beautiful, specific plans that would now never be fulfilled, marriages that would never happen, children who would never be born, inventions that would never be created, people who would never be helped, prayers that would never be prayed. The unique way each person was meant to reflect God's image, lost forever from the world. This wasn't meant to add guilt to those struggling with suicidal thoughts. Rather, it was meant to reveal the full truth about what's at stake, to expose the lie that says, everyone would be better off without me. The truth is exactly the opposite. Your absence would leave a hole in the world that no one else can fill. You are irreplaceable. Based on his mother's testimony and the guidance of those who knew him best, we can summarize Carlo's message about suicide in several key points that offer both hope and practical direction. First, recognize that suicidal thoughts are a spiritual attack built on lies. If you're struggling with thoughts of ending your life, understand that you're in a battle. The thoughts telling you to die are not coming from your true self, not from God, not from reality. They're deceptions from an enemy who wants to destroy you before you can fulfill your purpose. This doesn't minimize the reality of mental illness or the chemical imbalances that contribute to depression and suicidal ideation. Those things are real and need medical treatment. But there's also a spiritual dimension to the battle. The enemy uses our vulnerabilities, whether they're biological, psychological, or circumstantial, as entry points for his lies. Understanding this gives you a different perspective on the fight. You're not weak for having these thoughts. You're not failing. You're under attack, which actually means you're important enough to be targeted. The enemy doesn't waste energy on people who don't matter. If he's fighting to destroy you, it's because you threaten his plans. Second, prayer is a powerful weapon against suicidal thoughts. Carlo would encourage anyone struggling to cry out to God, even if you don't feel like your prayers are working. Pray to Mary, asking the mother who watched her son die to protect you from the enemy who wants your death. Pray to the saints, especially to Carlo himself, who saw what's at stake and who intercedes for those in danger. Even if prayer feels empty or useless, do it anyway. The enemy wants you to believe that God isn't listening, that heaven doesn't care, that you're abandoned. Don't believe it. Keep praying, even short, desperate prayers. God, help me. Mary, protect me. Jesus, save me. These prayers have power even when you can't feel it. And ask others to pray for you. Tell someone you trust that you're struggling and need prayer. The intercession of others can provide spiritual protection when you're too weak to fight alone. This is how the body of Christ works. We support each other, we carry each other, we fight for each other. Third, get help immediately. Carlo believed in addressing problems from every angle: spiritual, medical, and practical. If you're having thoughts of suicide, you need to tell someone today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Call a crisis hotline, text a crisis support number, go to an emergency room, tell a parent, a friend, a teacher, a counselor, a priest. Send a message to someone you trust saying, "I need help right now." Don't worry about bothering them or being dramatic. Your life is at stake. People who love you want to know so they can help. See a doctor about your mental health. Depression, anxiety, and other conditions that contribute to suicidal thoughts are medical issues that often need medical treatment. There's no shame in taking medication for your brain chemistry, any more than there's shame in taking insulin for diabetes. God works through doctors and medication just as much as through miracles. Talk to a therapist or counselor. Professional help can give you tools to manage difficult thoughts and feelings, help you process trauma, teach you coping strategies, and provide support as you work through whatever has brought you to this point of crisis. Carlo's approach was holistic because he understood that humans are integrated beings, body, mind, and spirit, all connected and affecting each other. You need help for all three dimensions, not just one. Leave a comment sharing hope with others who might be reading this while struggling. Your words could be the encouragement someone needs to choose life today. Carlo's vision of souls who had ended their own lives also revealed something about God's mercy that we need to understand. According to his mother, Carlo saw these souls in a state of confusion and realization. Yes, but he didn't see them as automatically condemned. He saw them as souls who had been deceived, who needed prayer, who were still within reach of God's infinite mercy. This matches Catholic teaching. The Catechism states that grave psychological disturbances, anguish, or grave fear of hardship, suffering, or torture can diminish the responsibility of the one committing suicide. It acknowledges that factors beyond a person's control can affect their moral culpability. The Church also teaches that we should not despair of the salvation of anyone. God's mercy is not limited by our understanding. Between the decision to end one's life and the moment of death, there may be opportunities for grace that we cannot see or measure. God, who knows every heart and every circumstance, judges with perfect justice and perfect mercy. This is why the Church allows funeral masses for those who have died by suicide, why we pray for these souls, why we entrust them to God's mercy rather than presuming their fate. Carlo prayed for these souls precisely because he believed prayer could help them, that God's mercy could reach them even after death. But Carlo's vision was given primarily to help the living, to motivate prayer and action that could prevent these deaths in the first place. Every suicide is a tragedy, a life lost too soon, a plan unfulfilled. Even if we trust in God's mercy for those who have died, we should fight with everything we have to prevent more deaths. After Carlo's death in 2006, and especially after his beatification in 2020, many people have reported that learning about his vision and his prayers regarding suicide has given them hope and helped them choose life. A young woman from Brazil wrote to Carlo's mother saying that she had been planning her suicide in detail. She had the method prepared. She had written goodbye letters. She was ready to die. Then she came across a video about Carlo's life that mentioned his prayers for people tempted toward suicide. Something about knowing that this teenage saint had cried over souls like hers, had prayed for people struggling like she was struggling, broke through her despair. If her life mattered enough for a saint to weep over its potential loss, maybe she did have worth after all. She decided to wait one more day, then another. She reached out for help. She started therapy and medication. She began attending daily mass when she could, following Carlo's example. Gradually, she found reasons to live. She discovered that the lies she had believed about herself weren't true. She's alive today because Carlo's mission continues even from heaven. Stories like this have emerged from around the world. A teenager in the Philippines, a college student in Poland, a middle-aged man in the United States, a young mother in Italy. People of all ages and backgrounds who were on the edge of ending their lives but found hope through Carlo's intercession and through understanding the spiritual battle they were facing. These testimonies reveal that Carlo's vision wasn't just for his own spiritual formation. It was preparation for a mission that continues now from heaven, praying for souls in danger, inspiring others to pray and act, and appearing at crucial moments to save lives. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, here are immediate action steps based on Carlo's teaching and example. Recognize the attack. Say out loud, "These thoughts are lies from an enemy who wants to destroy me. They're not the truth about my life or my worth." Pray for help. Even if it feels useless, say, "God help me, Mary protect me, Carlo pray for me, I can't fight this alone." Tell someone today. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Text a crisis line. Go to an emergency room. Tell any trusted person, "I'm having thoughts of hurting myself and I need help." Get professional help. Make an appointment with a doctor and a therapist. If you're already in treatment but it's not working, tell your providers that you need a different approach. Avoid isolation. Don't be alone if you can help it. Stay with family or friends. Go to public places. Connect with others in whatever way you can manage. Remove means. Get rid of anything you could use to harm yourself. Ask someone to hold medications. Remove weapons from your home. Block harmful websites. Make a plan for crisis moments. Write down numbers to call, people to contact, and reminders of reasons to live. Keep this list where you can find it quickly when thoughts become intense. Share this video with everyone you know, especially young people and those who work with vulnerable populations. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more content that addresses the real spiritual battles we face in modern life. Carlo Acutis saw the souls of those who ended their own lives not to judge them, but to understand what's at stake in the spiritual battle for every human life. He saw the lies that lead to these deaths. He saw the devastation left behind. He saw the beautiful plans that would never be fulfilled, and he responded by dedicating himself to prayer and action that could save lives. His mission continues from heaven. Around the world, people are being saved through his intercession. Lives that were about to be lost are being preserved. Families that would have been shattered are staying whole. Plans that would have been destroyed are unfolding as God intended. If you're struggling right now with thoughts of ending your life, know that Carlo is praying for you in this very moment. He sees what you're facing. He understands the pain and the lies you're hearing. And he's asking God to give you strength to survive this crisis, to choose life one more time, to reach out for the help that can pull you back from the edge. Your life matters more than you know. The enemy's lies are just that, lies. The pain you feel won't last forever. Help is available. Hope is real. And you are loved beyond measure by a God who created you for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Write in the comments, "I choose life," if you're committing to keep fighting. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to see to make the same choice. Blessed Carlo Acutis, you saw the souls of those who ended their lives and wept for them. Pray for all who are tempted towards suicide today. Intercede for them powerfully. Help them recognize the lies they're hearing. Give them strength to reach out for help. Protect them from the enemy who wants their destruction, and remind them that their lives have meaning, purpose, and irreplaceable value. Guide them to the help they need, spiritual, medical, and practical, and don't let a single one be lost. Amen.